my name is Joseph Knoll. I'm director and editor of The Wanted Dead or Alive and The Pretender. I'll explain later why there's two different narratives, because I had a little bit of a complication, and I had to change the narrative of my opening. But in this commentary, I will be discussing, explaining, analysing faults, problems, cuts, lighting, costumes, and all that kind of stuff in the making of this short film or opening. So, yeah, let's get started. All this footage that I've got, that this short film is made up of, was filmed on holiday late last year in Almeria, Spain, which is the location of where most of the actual westerns were shot. So I was in an authentic set, which was actually used in, I think it was A Fistful of Dollars, I think it was used in. And it was used in, probably the most latest thing it was used in is Doctor Who, the Town Called Mercy episode. Yeah, that's probably the latest thing it's been in. So it's a really nice set as well, so that was good I could go there. But, okay, here, the opening title of this film, I spent massive amounts of time watching old westerns, sequences, determining what colours they used, what techniques and styles they used. But I took most of my inspiration from Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars. His opening sequence uses a technique called rotoscoping, which is pretty much where you have a live action film happening, and over the top of that, a team of animators would draw or draw over the top of the live action footage, or paste colour over it, and make it look kind of like a cartoon sketch almost. And there's some really good examples of this being used in such as I think it's Take On Me video of the song by I'll put that in somewhere. But yeah, I'm not sure if this is particularly rotoscoping, but Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, uses the same idea of drawing over live footage, so that's a good example of it. But mainly, yeah, off saying a bit. But yeah, the first titles in A Fistful of Dollars, with the little white horse that moves across the screen, is all rotoscoping, and I thought that looked fantastic, so I wanted to do something similar. So yeah, that's where my inspiration came from that. The colour scheme for it I took from Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. I thought he kept true to the colours that are used to symbolise the genre, which is like strong reds, blacks, and that kind of, those sort of colours, because many revenge and that kind of storyline, and it links in well. But yeah, that's pretty much how I came up with that opening title, which I made on Flash with a series of frames I cut from a video on YouTube of a horse galloping, and the titles were just made text appear, and with that I've got a gunshot noise that appears with each word as it pops up on the screen, just because it happens in for a few dollars more opening title sequence with all the Clint Eastwood names come up as noise. And yeah, I wanted to keep true to that genre because I think those films are great. In some ways, I think that Western opening sequences are a lot like James Bond sequences. They're very extravagant, they're very elaborate, and most of them last up to 8 to 10 minutes sometimes, often showcasing some sort of skill or technique like projection or animation, CGI. Obviously I'm one guy, and those people had teams behind them creating these fantastic opening sequences. So I had to like downscale a bit. I went for a more basic approach. And I did some sort of horse animation, which links in with the past films and the Western genre. The Western font I downloaded from Dafont, the Dead Saloon font. That just thought that looked good. The gunshot noises are gunshots from, I think it was the Red Dead Redemption gunshot noises. That was a link on YouTube that I found, and I just popped them in where they needed. And I think all these things put together really make an authentic opening of a Western. If you've seen loads of Westerns, that's usually they're pretty extravagant and loud, gunshots and stuff. But as you can see here, about just after the Wanted Dead or Alive appears, a horse is meant to run across the screen and with it drag the titles over. But as you can see, it stops halfway through. And that's because I had some sort of problem exporting the Flash video. For some reason, when I exported it was fine, and then when I put it into Premiere Pro, it seemed to cut a little chunk off the end of it, and I don't know why it did that. And just while we're on the subject of exporting things, this whole opening, I had a massive problem exporting it. I don't know where it was. I have an idea actually. But the problem is that when I exported it, it was really bad quality, all pixelated. That it would skip frames, and it didn't look at all like what I wanted it to look like. But I think that was because when I exported the Flash file into Premiere Pro first, which has a different resolution, different frame rate. So when I exported that in, obviously it mucked up the frame rate of all the rest of the video. So when I put a 24 frame video into a 12 frame Flash, I don't know if that might have been it, just made it go wrong. So I had to export it as the biggest, highest quality file possible, which is an uncompressed AVI, and that was about 6 gigabytes. So that was too big to put on YouTube, but I had to. But that seemed to fix the problem. I mean, I watched it again afterwards, and it looked better. This is the final thing now. It looks much better. It's still a bit stuttery when you watch it all the way through. It's a bit like it's. I don't know what, it must skip some frames. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it looks much better. But yeah, that was a problem I had, and I guess that's just because I'm not amazing at Premiere Pro. I'm not sure why it did that, but yeah, that's that. What's next? The shot here of the camera going through the arch, and then it does a little crossfade into the same thing going into the prison. I thought that was a nice shot. I framed it so it'd be like you're walking through an arch to kind of like symbolise the beginning of the story. Kind of similar. If you go back to the first Sherlock Holmes film that was released with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, there's a similar shot in that film where the carriages ride through the street, and then the camera sits just outside this arch as the horses go through, and then it's kind of like it zooms in and chases the carriage, and it goes through this archway. And I thought that was a really nice shot, so I kind of borrowed from that because I thought that was great. But yeah, I thought that was a really nice shot, and it matches well with the next shot as my releaser, because I play the main character in my film. I'll explain why in a minute. But yeah, that goes well with the shot where I'm walking where someone else is walking through the prison to let me out, and then the credits start to roll over the top of that. And I thought that worked quite well, as you can see here. I thought it was quite nice. But that's that bit. And also, in this scene, there's the bit of my company logo coming up. There you go, 6 Shooter Studios. 6 Shooter Studios, the name obviously referring to a 6-shooter revolver. A 6-shooter being a revolver that holds 6 bullets. Yeah. Again, I animated that on Flash. Similar to, well, exactly the same as the opening titles I made. And I've put a little spin barrel effect with that just to make it seem nice. But I thought that all the revolver barrel, the font, the name, all link in with the Western genre, and I wanted to like get that in there so you know what kind of film you're watching from the beginning. Yeah, and then after that it just carries on going. But also, there's no dialogue in this opening. It's all music. Music plays a massive part in westerns. I think it's essential to like establishing shots, bridging shots from like place to place, or time compression shots, action sequences, dramatic sequences. Music helps push the narrative forward. Triggering emotion, tension, anticipation for what's going to happen next, what they're doing, etc. And Ennio Morricone's soundtrack for Sergio Leone's westerns are amongst some of the best western themes, using a great set of instruments like electric guitars, and also the whistling isn't whistling, it's a flute. But I thought that was a really good thing in his, and I used them. I tried finding covers of them because I got told that just to avoid copyright problems with YouTube, that you can't have the proper themes with them. Obviously, I mean, I understand that, but I tried to find covers and none of them really did it any justice. It didn't sound right. I even considered trying to make it myself with no musical experience whatsoever. But that I tried that, didn't sound right either. So I just hoped it wouldn't cause. I used the proper ones. I hoped it wouldn't cause any problems when uploading it to YouTube, but it hasn't so far. So this soundtrack I'm hearing right now is the Fistful of Dollars one, and then after this, when it's the scene with, I'll just say this now so I don't talk over all of it. The scene with the duel is the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trio, the final duel music in the film. I used that in my final duel because I thought it was quite nice, and it sounds good. And after I shoot the other person, the mum and dad, that music is For a Few Dollars More theme, and that's my favourite. I thought it was really good, and I feel that it accompanies the visuals very well, and it drives the narrative forward. And there's not any dialogue, and I think the music kind of replaces that quite well. Yeah, I thought that was good, just to get the music bit out of the way. So also, and now if you just watch this bit, I'll shut up for a bit. As you hear, I thought it was quite nice. And then here, as I walk out of the prison, the music changes, and I just wanted to get a couple of little location shots, because here, look, I'll just pause it. You see the set that I was in. I wanted some establishing shots of the character walking through the town to illustrate where the film is. And also in Westerns traditionally, there's quite a lot of slow tension building scenes as like the character walks through the village for the first time, or no, the town, and all the people around him are looking at him, what's he doing, who's this stranger, and it's meant to be like kind of tension building, which is why it's quite long shots sometimes. Yeah, so that's what this shot's for. As I walk past all these buildings. Also, that day it was a really nice day. It's bright. The sun brings out the colours in the set. It's you can see that in the background there, the scrubland hills and the sandy floors. That's really good for a western, obviously. But if you watch here, as I continue walking out of shot, it skips straight to when I arrive at the Fort Bravo. Straight, there's nothing in between. And that's for two reasons. I was pressed for time. Well, because it's 2 minute opening. I'm already a bit over that, but I was pressed for that because it would just make it too long if I had tons more shots in there. And also, the location is a tourist attraction. So, Texas Hollywood and El Maria is the set, you can visit. As I'm shooting, as I want to shoot some scenes, it's a tourist attraction, fair enough. But you know, you get tourists wandering into the shots that you want, and this obviously limited what I could do on the day. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be as busy as it was, but I was limited to a small area where there didn't seem to be many people. So I did have some other shots I could put in, but I mean, I can show some clips here. Like, as you can see, there's some where people just wander in to shot, or yeah, and that just was awkward to do. So I would have liked to have a few more bridging shots here, because I kind of just arrive at this place and it's a bit vague. So I would have liked to have. I mean, I had to cut somewhere, so I had to cut some scenes out of there. But if I could, I'd put them back in because it makes it a bit more like of a journey to this place. Yeah. Right, here we go. Here, you can see here, the only prop in this opening was the revolver. The USA revolver replica of a .45 caliber Colt pistol. I actually bought this as a souvenir because I love the Western genre. On the location of the set, I bought it, and it's authentic. They've actually used them in their reenactment things at the set because they do little reenactment shots. I can link it. I've recorded them. They're quite good. But yeah, they look authentic. It's a proper metal, weighted. The chamber spins, and that was really helpful because you need to add effects in like that afterwards. But if it does it already, then you don't need to. It looks great. Okay, let's begin. What do I get to? Yeah, throughout the shootout scene in this video, I want to stay true to the themes and conventions of westerns during shootout scenes, because there are some, I believe. So when storyboarding it, I made sure that I used a variety of shots in each of these shootout scenes. So probably the biggest inspiration is the final duel in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone again. He's great. I'll play it now, actually, so you can just see the similar kind of shots I've used. A variety of it's slow. It gradually builds up. The shots, and also the shots are wide at the beginning. Yeah, they're wide. You get long, medium shots. You get big wide shots of like the medium shots of characters, wide shots for landscape. And as it gets closer and closer and closer and closer, you get close-ups of the face looking at each other. You get extreme close-ups of just eyes. You get close-ups of their hand going to their revolvers. And music plays a massive part in this scene and my scene, because the music helps build that up. And then as it gets to a climax, you get that big explosion of, like, I think it's brass trumpets or something like that. And it really goes along with the visuals. And that is what I wanted to achieve, that kind of duel. Because I know it seems a bit slow, but that is, to me, what a traditional, authentic dueling scene should be. It should be slow at the beginning, and then very, very slowly build and build and build and build and build and build until they all pull the revolvers out and shoot them out of each other. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to achieve. That, and as you can see, I've used a variety of shots. I've got the close-up of my hand. I've got my dad, who plays the other character. Close-ups of his hand, close-up of his eyes, looking at me. I'm looking at him. Wide shots of us both at the side. Back to me and both our faces. And I have used the same clip of my face in this scene, and I can tell you why. It's because the sun in Almeria is absolutely bright as hell. I couldn't open my eyes for longer than 5 seconds without squinting or like beginning to cry. So the scene you see of my face is repeated, and I couldn't avoid that because I had a 5-minute video of me trying to open my eyes, and only roughly 10 seconds, 5 seconds of it was actually usable, because I wasn't like squinting like this, and I'm meant to be like focused, gonna kill this dude in front of me. Cool. And if I'm squinting, it looks kind of stupid. So you can see here my eye is like, it's gonna go, because that hurt. It was horrible. So that's why. Comments I got back from this scene, they thought it was good, but these shots of close-up of our face they said they were a bit long, and it made it a bit awkward, which I can understand. So I did actually cut a couple of, I think I cut a second off each bit, apart from where it skipped from my face, dad's face, my face, dad's face, because that's like a traditional thing you have before they both pull. I kept some of them, I kept them longer, so it was long shot of my face, long shot of my dad's face, medium shot of my face, medium shot of my dad's face, short shot, and it got closer and closer and closer until boom, we both did it. That I had to keep in because I thought that was good. That's how it should be. But I listened to the responses, and I have changed a couple of things, including the big thing at the end, which I'll show you. See here, look, yeah. And then as I shoot my dad, the music slowly changes from the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Trio song to the For a Few Dollars More song, which I think is good. This is kind of like a victory one. And also here, I admit there is a continuity error, but I can also explain that. I shot my dad, I've got a shot of him dropping the revolver on the floor, and then I've got a revolver. I walk up to my dad, I kick my dad, and the revolver, because I've got the revolver in my hand then, the revolver is not on the floor anymore. That was something I got in the feedback as well from the class viewing. I couldn't avoid that. I had one revolver. So throughout this entire scene of me and my dad having a shoot-off, I had one revolver. So the shots where my dad's got it, I haven't got it, I'm pretending. I've got my hand there like this to disguise that I've got a revolver. So I couldn't avoid that. I mean, I guess I could have had a close-up shot, but yeah, ago, so I'm sure. Damn it. But well, that's what I filmed the other day, so I can go back there just to do that. But yeah, I mean, and there's, I admit, again. Oh no, I'll just say this bit first. Here, as the I've done a victory kick on my dad. I spin the revolver. That took ages. That took absolutely ages to do. It's big. The revolver's about that big. Well, that doesn't make any sense on screen. What am I doing? But it's big, heavy revolver. Spinning that around your finger really is difficult. And I mean, I could put some bloopers together, I guess. But that took a while to get right. Also, I as I put it in my trouser pocket, I kept on getting the second barrel thing stuck in my trousers. That was difficult to do, so that took a while. And here also, I've got the credits begin. I've got a little paint splat transition, which I paint. Paint splashes are like big in Western openings and credits. It's like partly because that was like one of the main effects that they could actually do at that time, but it's become like a thing that Westerns are. So I had that in there. I was going to do a more elaborate. That's another thing I can improve. I was going to do a more elaborate opening titles and ending credits, styled on the Sherlock Holmes again. Styled on the Sherlock Holmes ones, where it uses a series of like wipe over effects of ink splats and old paper, stuff like that. I could probably play it over this as well. Otherwise, I'll put a link. But if you see that kind of, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's great. But that technique, I had a tutorial. I started to do it. It was so time consuming. I didn't have enough time to put it in. But I will definitely come back to it because I think it is a really good showcase of Photoshop skills and After Effects skills, because it's pretty demanding if you want to get it right. But that's another thing that I wanted to do but I couldn't do. That is something I should put in. Yeah. Then also here, another continuity error. I bet. I tried to disguise it by covering it up with the, what is it? It says directed and produced by Joseph Knoll. I tried to cover it up with that, but as I walk out of the shot of me walking through the gate, I've got the gun out again, but I put it in my pocket. I could avoid that, but I forgot. That was bad. But another thing about this shot, I wanted it to be framed like that because I had an idea for a poster with that shot, because the shadow that is because the sun is directly in front of me. The shadow that casts through that door is awesome. I thought it was perfect, and the mountains in the background is great. It's a great ending shot to an opening, and I was just going to walk through, and I was going to walk dead straight, just kind of like me leaving the scene as like a badass. So yeah, that's a good shot. I framed it deliberately like that because there's deep contrast in dark and light areas. Light areas are completely like saturated out, almost white, and the dark areas are almost completely blacked out. And I thought that was a really bold statement for a last opening. It was the last closing I've seen. Yeah, I thought that was good. But yeah, now if you stop here. Now here, this is the big thing that I had to change. Originally, as I walk out the gate, it was going to fade out to red, because red's Western, all that kind of stuff, and it was going to go to the Dead or Alive, bang, 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 opening, so I had at the beginning. But because this is a big change I had to do, I had to cut that out, and this is the new opening. Now, I'll explain why now. As you may have, obviously you've seen because you're watching it, I am wearing a Canterbury Kiwi t-shirt, and my dad is wearing his shorts, and yeah, that isn't Western clothes, obviously. I was on a holiday, so I didn't have a ton of stuff there. But all of this, that problem right there, all of this can be blamed on Ryanair for their mean and cruel hold luggage system. If I wanted to bring the costumes and that kind of stuff with me, because sadly, I actually do have some stuff I would have brought and used. But if I wanted to bring that, I would have had to pay £50 for extra hold luggage, and I was kind of reluctant to do that, so I didn't. I regret it a little bit, but I figured I could get on with it and film it, and it would be fine. If I were Western clothes, it'd be great. But as my media studies teacher, Mr. Cole, and the viewers that we showed it, well, my class, it doesn't make any sense. Western with people with modern clothes doesn't really make much sense. So to get round that, I had to change the ending. But changing the ending changes the story, the characters, the plot, everything. It changes everything, right? So, whereas when it was cut off there, everything you've seen, so when I walk out the gate, that was going to be Wanted, Dead or Alive, Western, John Strider, the Sykes gang. This is the plot. The Sykes gang framed him, John Strider, my character, framed him for the murder of his son and wife, and he was put in prison, and he's dwelled in this prison like wanting to get revenge, and he's come out and he's going to go on his big revenge story, and he's going to kill each member of the gang which killed his son and wife, and get revenge, redemption, whatever you want to call it. That was going to be the story. That was the Western opening for that. But because the close, I had to change it. So I changed it into something called The Great Pretender, which is the story of a boy called Peter Page. Peter Page is a teenage boy who dreams he's inside his own movie, blending reality with his dreams. And the story is pretty much this kid. He dreams of say he's on a train. He sees a guy with a suitcase, and he's like, "Oh, this shifty guy with a suitcase." It's like a James Bond, and he like follows him, and it turns in, and the whole film moves into this whole James Bond narrative where he's like stalked him down, and he's making up all these situations. When in fact, really, it's just a man with a suitcase. But then the story is when he actually busts this whole organisation wide open by thinking it's a dream, one of his like made up, make believe dreams, when it's actually real. So yeah, that's the story of that. But yeah, as you can see here, the open. So I wake up. My dad calls me, and here I go to reach under my pillow, and there's a gun there. Now that twist is just to like get the idea to the audience that it's kind of like, is it real, is it not? You don't know whether it's real or not. So like he's got a gun under his pillow, so was the dream kind of real, I guess. And that little Western noise at the end, I just think that noise suits the little mysteriousness of it. And yeah, that's why I had to change that. So I've got two. They're both up on my blog. Wanted, Dead or Alive, or The Great Pretender. They're two things, but the main ones have to be The Great Pretender. I don't have as much blog work to support all of that because it was a last minute change. Because it was a last minute change, so I don't have much to back it up. But I've written a little thing about it. So that is why I had to change it. Thanks for watching. I hope that's answered a couple of things in this evaluation.